What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Just want to say to you guys, happy 2019. This is actually going to be my first video of the year, so I just want to say to you guys, hopefully you guys had a really good new year, and also had a really good holiday period as well. Hopefully you guys, got to hang out with friends and family and stuff, and hopefully it went really well. But honestly, I've been wanting to upload a video over the last couple of days, but there really hasn't been much to really talk about in terms of Treasure Cruise. There hasn't been like any news, any new banners or anything that's really been that exciting that have been coming out recently. And I know a lot of people on the Reddit and Discord are really just like wanting something to happen on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. It is a little bit unfortunate that we have to be waiting for so long to actually get some information as to what is going to be coming next. For me personally, I haven't been playing Treasure Cruise really that much over the last like week or so. Since the release of Garp and Sengoku Raid Boss, I literally haven't like farmed the game at all. There has literally been nothing to do. So hopefully something does come out soon that I can make a video for you guys and just give me something to do, honestly, with Treasure Cruise. I know a lot of people have been wanting something to do, and I know we are getting a new ranking mission over the next couple of weeks, so that's going to be interesting to see when that actually comes out, and we'll be making a video when that actually gets released. But anyways, in this video, it's going to be another tier list video. So for the first video of the year, we're going to be discussing the best legends, the legends that you guys should be aiming to get in One Piece Treasure Cruise, especially if you guys are wanting to start again or re-roll, or if you guys are new to the game. This is a good kind of indicator as to what legends you should be going for the most part. But anyways, like always, this is going to be a full opinionated tier list. This is just my opinion in terms of what I think are the best legends on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global as of right now at the start of January 2019. And you can see on the bottom of the tier list here, characters in each individual tier are ranked in order of their ID. So just because a character is a little bit further up on the list than another character does not mean that that character necessarily is better in that specific tier. It's just the fact that they're just ranked in terms of ID, and I just think that group of legends are like that good in their specific ranking. But also some legends not in this tier list might have TBC, to be confirmed, so we need more information to really determine where they are in a tier list. And the last update was the 29th of December, which is when I actually updated the graphic for this. But anyways, let's get right into it, starting off with tier 3. So this is the lowest tier on my tier list. If any legend that you see is not on this list, it means that they are below tier 3. So, like V1 Whitebeard, obviously he's a pretty bad legend nowadays. He's not going to be on this list at all. So that's just to put it out there that if you guys don't see a legend on this list, most likely either I forgot it or it's just not, that good of a legend, and it's going to be below tier 3. So with tier 3, we have V2 Fujitora, we have V1 Crocodile, just Crocodile 6+, and also the V1 Law 6+. I think all three of these legends are actually really good. It's just the fact that Fujitora himself, in terms of slashes, he probably is the best slasher captain in the game as of right now on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global, but slashes are kind of bad, and they kind of struggle with some of the content. They do have a little bit of help with a character like Recruit Bobbin, who came out not that long ago, and he has amazing utility, very powerful character, really good for slasher teams, and just good in a lot of different teams. Bobbin is a great character who can kind of enable you to get rid of a lot of different debuffs, and then you go ahead and bring your other boosters on your team. But it's just the fact that the captain himself in Fujitora really isn't that great. As a captain, he has a pretty decent captain effect, but his special ability does not provide that much for your crew in terms of some of the other legends nowadays. Like, his special just does a bit of damage, it delays and gives you orbs. There aren't that many instances where that's going to be extremely useful in a lot of the endgame content. And honestly, just in terms of the other legends that have come out within 2018, he's definitely one of the weaker ones. And then you've got Crocodile, who, in terms of the cerebral captains, he's one of the better ones. And, once we get Inuarashi 6+, he's just amazing compared to Crocodile in terms of the captain effect. Crocodile is still good, but the fact that he is a 3.5 captain only at like 1 HP, it is kind of annoying. Playing at that low HP threshold can be quite annoying, and in most cases, if you have Legend Robin, you should just run her over Crocodile, because she's just going to be a lot more easier to use. And in terms of damage output, like, Crocodile needs to be at that low threshold to get that damage, and you need to be taking hits and stuff like that, which can still be risky. Crocodile does have a very good special though, and still can be used in cerebral teams nowadays, but I think just overall, Legend Robin is just a much better character that you should be using over Crocodile. And the same sort of thing with Law. Like, Law's a good captain, he can still clear content. Obviously, I used him for Neo Boa. If you guys have seen the video for me taking on the Neo Clash Boa Hancock. Law was amazing for that, and I guess he was kind of like, you know, custom built for that. Not really custom built for it, but like the raid was built to be beaten by Law. He just has amazing abilities that work against it really well. Obviously, he has type advantage as well. So in terms of the latest Neo content, yes, Law's very good for that, but just the fact that, you know, you shouldn't be using Law if you have Luffy and Ace. Luffy and Ace is just so much better than Law that it's actually ridiculous in terms of the damage output. He's special, very, very unique though. Really nice to have, especially if you have some sort of really good Rainbow Captain. You can run him on the Rainbow Captain as a sub, and that can work really well because you can utilize other specials like V2, Doflamingo, V1 Mihawk and stuff to use their specials through barriers, and you can do some really cool shenanigans with V1 Law. But now that we've talked about that, let's go ahead and move a little bit more down as we get to tier number 2. So with tier 2, these are the characters that I believe are better than all of the tier 3 and below legends. So we have Nekomamashi, who still is pretty solid nowadays. Striker teams are definitely not the best team in the game anymore, especially like, you know, on his release, strikers were pretty amazing at that time. But obviously, you know, with Neko nowadays, he is still kind of annoying. He does get his 6+ on Japan, and he doesn't change that much, but they give him some okay abilities. They make him a little bit higher chance to get some matching orbs. His special ability gets a minor upgrade, but still, Nekomamashi is still pretty solid. Just that really high base multiplier of 3.75. It's hard to really compete with that. That is such a high multiplier. Like if Neko was like a 3.25 or a 3.3 multiplier, and he still did what he did, there is no way he would be in tier 2. But just the fact he's a 3.75. and he does what he does, that's why he'd be here. If he had a little bit of an upgraded special or a little bit of a better captain effect in terms of getting your 3.75 multiplier more consistently, then he would definitely be in a higher tier. But I think tier 2 is a pretty comfortable position for Nekomamashi Cap Viper. I still think that Quick Law is a very good character in the game. His cerebral version is monstrous, especially in some of the content nowadays with AoE damage. He does AoE fixed damage, that is, barrier removal, a massive orb boost for one of the best classes, if not the best class in the game on global right now. Cerebral Law is fantastic. The Striker Law still has his places, but definitely this is mainly aimed towards the Cerebral Law. He is amazing. So, you know, if you do have the Striker Law, I would highly suggest super evolving him into the Cerebral version because he's just amazing. And then we've got the V2 Rayleigh. V2 Rayleigh is still pretty solid. Captain effect is a little bit more tricky to use. He's still a captain that relies you on being low health to get your high multiplier, and that still can be quite a struggle to actually achieve. But, you know, in most cases when you can get to that low multiplier, low HP for the high multiplier, he's just monstrous as a captain. Special ability, one of the best specials in the game. I think I've already touched on this in previous tier lists, so I want to kind of breeze through a lot of the stuff I've already talked about in previous videos. But yeah, V2 Rayleigh, amazing special ability, one of the best subs in the entire game. So 100% I do believe he deserves to be here, but his captain effect is a little lacking because being only a 2.5 captain for a majority of your run can be quite a struggle to clear it fast. Although he does have reduced cooldowns as a captain, which is actually quite good. A lot of people forget about that. You know, with Rayleigh, with double Rayleigh, that's already 2 turns of reduction. With sockets, it's 4, and depending on what ship you run, you can get a little bit lower as well. V2 Rayleigh is a really solid unit, but just as a captain, you'd much rather use other captains compared to him. Frankie, I think, is in the same book as a lot of other legends in this category here, where, you know, they have a really good captain effect, but you'd much rather use something else. Frankie is still pretty interesting, though, with his captain action, of course. A lot of people already know about this, but the amount of versatility that you can have with Frankie and the different teams you can run with him is quite good. But like Japan, you know, once we get his 6+, Frankie is just phenomenal, an absolute monster. Frankie still has a lot of uses as well on like free spirit teams and stuff like that, because he can still be used as like a 2x type booster, as well as a really good unit for shuffling away your block orbs and stuff. So yeah, Frankie still pretty solid, but you know, like I said, just the other legends in the higher tiers are just much better to use in my personal opinion. We have Legend Robin here as well, just an upgraded version of the Cerebral Captain, as we mentioned before with Crocodile. Robin is great, but her special ability, I feel, is a little lacking. Yes, she is one of the best defensive units in the entire game, literally take no damage for a turn, as well as giving you some recovery orbs. But in terms of her team, right, in terms of her team, she doesn't provide anything, no terms of boosts. She's only there as a defensive unit, which means that once you're running your Robin as a captain, you need to bring a lot of other units as your subs to provide a lot of different things for your crew. So because she doesn't really give you any boosts, or she doesn't really give you much utility aside from literally taking no damage, it means, you know, if the enemy has like paralysis, or if you need to bring like a specific orb boost or a type boost or affinity, you do have to make sure that your last 4 units or even your friend captain have to fulfill those roles. And it can make team building with Robin a little bit tricky, but Robin is still a very, very solid captain, and there's not much you can really say about that. You know, Robin is just amazing in terms of her captain. But yeah, the special, I really wish the special was better. Hopefully we get like a Robin 6+ that, you know, has the defensive effect as well as do something else, maybe like reduce 4 turns of paralysis or attack down or something else, just so that she provides something for your crew. I feel like that would be amazing for Robin, but we'll have to wait and see in the future for that one. Next, we've got Legend Garp, and I feel like Legend Garp is a little underrated in the community. Legend Garp has a really good special. A lot of people already know this about Garp. He has the health cut through barriers. He has the reduction of the special bind, as well as the 3x chain lock. He has a lot of really powerful things as a sub, but a lot of people do not opt to use him as a captain because he is honestly really annoying to build for. And honestly, in my personal experience of using Garp, a lot of the time when I end up building a Legend Garp team, it ends up mainly just being like a Free Spirit or a Powerhouse team, and they typically seem to be some of the best teams that you can build with Legend Garp. Obviously you can run some like really rainbow shenanigans and stuff like that, but a majority of the time like Free Spirit units are just really good with Legend Garp, and they fit really well because you can't bring certain units with Legend Garp, otherwise your attack gets reduced significantly, and that really hinders Garp because a lot of the classes that he will aim to use, you know, or a lot of characters he aims to use have like one of those secondary classes that you can't bring, and it's really annoying because I think Cerebral is one of them, and there's a really other annoying one that really just hinders him a lot. So, you know, not being able to bring Cerebral being like probably the best class in the game really hinders the way that you can build Garp teams. But, you know, you can't deny his viability as a sub, honestly. One of the best specials in the entire game. We've got V2 Lucci there, and V2 Lucci is only going to be getting better over time. I'm talking about the 6+ version of him, of course, because with the shooter support that come out in Japan, when that eventually arrives on global, man, this is going to be crazy. I mean, even right now on global, you can still really utilize V2 Lucci a lot, really, because a lot of people who are using V2 Lucci can use other characters like V2 Kuzan. You can use characters like Katakuri. There's really cool, you know, type of teams you can actually build with this. Coliseum Kid is a really good unit to use with your Lucci team, of course, with being a shooter. And you can actually build some really cool V2 Kuzan and V2 Lucci teams together, quick size shooter teams, and there's really good quick and size shooters on global at the moment, and you can build some really cool teams with that, and that can beat a lot of content, of course. And the fact that Lucci himself, or 6+ Lucci, is a unit that can really just clear content really fast because he has reduced cooldowns. You can use the Kizaru ship, so shooter teams are very fast on global with how they are right now, and they're only going to be getting better over time. So I believe Lucci definitely deserving of this position right here. And the last unit in this tier is going to be Kung Fu Luffy. Now, Kung Fu Luffy previously was in tier 3. I've actually bumped him up to tier 2, and the reason for that is because he was actually one of the teams that could actually easily beat the Garp and Sengoku. I saw a couple people post a video about that, about Kung Fu Luffy actually beating the Sengoku and Garp raid boss, and just that alone, I'm like, okay, yeah, he definitely should be in a higher tier. Just the fact that his captain effect allows him to beat some of the more difficult content in the game is actually pretty crazy. And as a sub, we already know how good he is with giving you the type boost, the damage reduction, perfect, easy to hit. A monstrous unit, as well as even as a sub as well, he allows deck souls to be beneficial. Kung Fu Luffy is a solid unit. Unfortunately, on my account right now, I don't have him, but definitely a legend I would be glad to get with the amount of utility and power he can provide to a lot of your crews in the game. Alright, moving on now, we have tier number 1. So this is the tier before the highest tier. So with tier 0 is our highest, tier 1 is going to be the tier before that. So with this one, we have actually 2 changes, because we have the addition of Gil Tesoro and Katakuri I actually bumped up from tier 2. Now, in my previous tier list video, a lot of people were really upset the fact that Katakuri was in tier 2. completely understand that. I personally would have put Katakuri in tier 1, although I just wasn't too sure on how a majority of you guys were going to feel about Katakuri being in tier 1, so I thought Katakuri in tier 2 was a pretty safe bet. But honestly, if you guys have been seeing since I come back from my break from, you know, not playing Treasure Cruise, literally, like, a lot of the more difficult stuff that has actually come out, like stuff like Raid Cracker, stuff like Raid Zora, pretty much every new Coliseum that's come out since I've come back, I have used Katakuri as my farming team. It's pretty crazy. Katakuri can literally do everything in the game right now, and there's not much that really stops him. And he's honestly my favorite legend in the game. Obviously, I'm not going in order and talking about the tier 1 legends here. I just want to talk about Katakuri and why he's actually been bumped up, though. Katakuri is probably my favorite legend on Global right now. He is so powerful, surprisingly powerful. Being a 3.3 captain, you wouldn't think he's that strong. The fact that he can get a conditional boost that no other character in the game can get. You know, when the enemy has like a delay protector or a debuff protector, a full debuff protector, and you can delay them and then get your 1.75 conditional boost, it makes Katakuri that much stronger compared to a lot of other legends in the game, and that's predominantly why I like to use him. Also, building teams for him is really fun, in my personal opinion. Building really cool powerhouse, cerebral shooter teams. I love Katakuri, man, and he definitely deserves a tier 1 positioning, though I don't think he definitely deserves a tier 0 positioning. He's not that strong, but in terms of how fun he is to build with and actually use, I definitely think he should be in the tier 1 positioning. V2 Doflamingo definitely deserves to be here as well. A lot of people might argue for him to be in tier 0. I disagree, because there is a lot of content that really just hard counters Doflamingo and the way that he functions. Understandably, though, because V2 Doflamingo is honestly, like, if you just look at him at a face value, V2 Doflamingo is probably the best legend in the game, in my personal opinion. But the fact that there's so much content that directly counters the way that he is supposed to be built makes him not as good to use in the game. Obviously, a lot of characters have either revives or barriers, which really hinder the usage of V2 Doflamingo's special ability. And the fact that, you know, a lot of content actually has special bind, and there aren't really good any special bind reducers that are driven characters, so that's a really big issue for Doflamingo, because you have to have 6 driven characters to make his team work. Obviously, you can use him as a sub on a lot of different teams, like cerebral teams as well, which can be quite cool. And if you can run a rainbow team with V1 Law, that also can kind of, you know, allow V2 Doflamingo to do his thing. But if you're just talking about him overall as a package, he is a very powerful unit, but in a lot of endgame content, you're not going to be finding too many opportunities to actually use him effectively. V2 Kuzan is still great to this day, and I think he's going to be getting even better in the future, especially with the release of the shooter support that's going to be coming out, obviously with the Zephyr batch, the Capone batch. V2 Kuzan is going to be even better than he is right now. Even with Legend Kara, when she comes out in the future, you can build really cool speed teams with Kuzan as well. And he's just the fact that he has a 2.25 type boost, as well as full board orb manipulation. That gets rid of block orbs as well. He has a good captain effect. Just a lot of people do not opt to use him as a captain because he is quite annoying to use. You have to hit in the order of Psy, then Quick, which is annoying for the most part, but you can still get around that. You can still get some pretty high damage output with this guy, especially because there are so many good Psy and Quick characters. I mean, just talking about his batch with like Psy Hina, the Quick Sengoku. If you're running a shooter team, you can run V2 Lucci 6+, Van Augur and stuff like that. There's really good units you can use here. Just for the most part, I feel like a lot of the tier 0 characters are just way better than Kuzan. But if you have Kuzan, be very happy, because he's going to be even better in the future, and he's really, really good right now. Judge understandably deserves this positioning. A lot of people might argue for him to be in tier 0 as well. I can see the arguments for Judge being in tier 0. There isn't that much content that really just hard counters the way that Judge works. Obviously, there's like content with a lot of slot bind. That can be quite an issue for Judge, obviously, because he's based on you know, getting your more matching orbs and stuff like that. Or if there's content that provides a lot of negative orb enables, that can also be a problem for Judge, because you need to have matching orbs for you to get your high boost. But there are ways around the negative orb chance increase. So what you can do is, you know, use characters that, you know, give you the beneficial orbs for multiple turns, carry that into a room, get rid of the preemptive attack, and that can work quite well. So Judge actually has a lot of ways that he can actually get around his debuffs. If a character gets slot binded, there's not really much you can do about that, and just content in general that has slot bind can be an issue for Judge. Team building for Judge also can be annoying in some cases because there are a lot of different debuffs in the game right now, so you need to make sure you have a lot of different characters for all the different debuffs so you can, you know, build your team effectively. Judge is quite good with his 6+ though, being his own type booster for his crew. I think he boosts Driven, Powerhouse, and Fighters by 2 times, so 3 different characters, 3 different classes getting a 2 times boost, as well as reducing damage, and as a captain gives you your full orbs. But in a lot of cases you need to have some sort of characters that can give themselves the matching orbs, because not every character is going to be treating Inth as beneficial. So if you have a character like Limited Rare Recruit or Kainu and you can run a Driven team with Judge, that can work pretty well. But I just think that Judge in general is a lot more difficult to use than all the other tier 0 legends, and that's why I would put him in tier 1, but I can definitely understand the argument of putting Judge in tier 0. Next we got Legend Nami. Legend Nami, pretty understandable why she's here. Probably the best special in the entire game on global thus far. Captain effect is good, but only for Dex teams. So that's the drawback there, is that she's only really a Dex captain, and Mono Dex is not an ideal mono color. If you're going to do a mono color like Mono Psi or Mono Int, I feel are the best monos in the game. Definitely Mono Int is the best. Just because they don't have a weakness, so that's one of the best benefits there. With Nami, basically any content that has like strength related bosses, she is going to struggle with as a captain, so I would not suggest running her as a captain. But as a sub, Dex beneficial to all, as well as that amazing special ability being 2 times orbs, 1.75 affinity. Yeah, understandably why she's going to be in tier 1. We already talked about Katakuri, my boy Katakuri, Mr. Slam Jam. And then we've got V2 Sanji as well. V2 Sanji, a lot of people have been using him recently. A lot of people like using him. He's very powerful, pretty much does everything. So why isn't he in tier 0? Literally just because his special is health based. If his special was not health based, or if it was like, so he does a 2.25 type boost above 50%, right? If he was maybe a 1.75 type boost below 50%, or a 2 times below 50%, he'd be fine. I think he'd definitely be in tier 0, but the fact that his special is health based just makes him literally unable to use his special in certain pieces of content. Especially, you know, if they go ahead and reduce your health by a significant amount and then they like heal bind you so you cannot heal at all, or even just the fact that you need to heal to get his special to work means that you'll have to bring a healer, which is annoying, honestly. It can honestly make V2 Sanji clearing some content a little bit tricky, and that's literally the only reason I wouldn't put him in tier 0 at this current point. But I think that V2 Sanji is probably the closest character to being in tier 0 out of all these tier 1 characters here. And last but not least, for tier 1, we actually have Guild Tesora. Now, Guild Tesora, I've already made a couple of videos discussing about Guild Tesora with the OPTC how-to, as well as the actual showcase video, and you guys saw how powerful he can be, right? The fact that he's a base 3.75 captain that goes up to a 4.5 captain is insane, right? And the fact that he also has one of the best specials in the game as well. Like, he will definitely rival characters like Legend Garp, V2 Rayleigh, and Legend Nami in terms of like being those best specials in the game. Guild Tesora is great. The fact that he is so good, but he has a captain effect that is extremely difficult to build for, and I really tried to build a Guild Tesora team for Garp and Sengoku. I really tried to build a team against Coliseum Kid. He does kind of struggle in the most difficult pieces of content in the game. You can build teams for them, but either they're severely RNG heavy, or like they're just really difficult to build for, and they can be extremely hard to build because, you know, you need a lot of different rare recruit characters. Saying that, if you do have those characters, because obviously with this tier list, it's based on if you had hypothetically all the characters in the game, Guild Tesora honestly is one of the best in the game. He's definitely not a character you should be using if, you know, making a rerolled account, but if you have a really well established account with a lot of different characters to choose from, Guild Tesora is going to be so powerful, especially with the fact that we just had Treasure Map Big Mom come out. She's an amazing character for the Guild Tesora teams because she provides so much damage output. Guild Tesora can give you your matching orbs for that 3 times orb burst from Big Mom, as well as your 3.25 chain lock, the best chain locker in the entire game, and he's a driven chain locker as well. Driven characters were not really renowned for being chain lockers. The only 2 chain lockers that I think in the game that are driven are Guild Tesora and Legend Zoro. So that's great. He's actually a really good character for driven teams, but we've already discussed about why driven teams are not one of the best in the game. Guild Tesora is still really powerful though. It's just the fact that he can be quite hard to use in some of the more endgame content. just a bit of how inherently difficult it is. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's actually go ahead and move on up to the final tier list, which is going to be the tier 0. So tier 0, here is like the end game. This is the highest tier in the game that I've personally made here, which is going to have Legend Lucy, Luffy and Ace, Shanks, Akainu, and Luffy. Now, in the previous tier list video, I had Lucy listed at tier 1. A lot of people were upset about that. Understandably, I guess. I mean, it's just the fact that I wanted to try and make tier 0 kind of an exclusive thing where, you know, you really had to be the best of the best to clear everything, right? To be the best. Like, they can literally do anything that they really need to be doing. And Legend Lucy, I guess, kind of does that, but I still feel that out of all the characters here, I still feel Legend Lucy is the weakest one here. But I just think Legend Lucy is probably still better than all the legends in tier 1 at this current point in One Piece Treasure Cruise Global's timeline. So Legend Lucy is still an extremely powerful character. Obviously, we all know how he works. He's been out for nearly a year now. It's coming up to 11 months now he's been out for in Global, and he is still dominating literally everything that comes out. And it's pretty surprising, honestly. A character that's been out for that long and is still dominating in the highest tier in the game, it is pretty absurd. And the fact that he was guaranteed on the Christmas Sugo, man, if you guys didn't have Legend Lucy, I really hope you guys actually pulled for him because he's amazing. That's all I said in that video, you know, is if you had Lucy, you don't need a pull, and if you don't have him, make sure you do those 5 multis to get guaranteed Lucy because he's going to be a very, very powerful asset to your One Piece Treasure Cruise account. Luffy and Ace, though, we already know how good he is. His switching mechanic is broken. His captain effect, extremely powerful for Free Spirit, one of the best classes in the game. Special ability, giving you some orb manipulation as well as a 2x orb boost to all units, not just Free Spirit. Just a solid unit overall. Like, there's not really much else you can really say about Luffy and Ace. He's just better than like every other tier 1 character. He is absurdly powerful. V2 Shanks partners really well with V2 Akainu. I've already discussed this in previous videos as well. V2 Shanks is great. He is so versatile and you can run literally any type team in the game. Int, Dex, Psi, Quick, Strength, whatever you want. You can build it with Shanks and you can deal some pretty good damage with him. Most of the time though, you're going to be running a team with typically like 4 int characters and then 2 other support units of some kind. That's typically the best way to build Shanks teams because even though, you know, you'll build an int team, maybe you might not actually be getting any type advantage, but you just have so much damage output with his special, being a full board of orbs, 2.25 type boost, and a 0.9 combo boost. Absurdly powerful. Next, you got V2 Akainu. We all know how good he is with his end of turn damage, with his captain effect, as well as, you know, being a full board orb manipulation, 2.25 orb boost for 2 different colors. Wow, man, like V2 Akainu is so freaking powerful. And as I said, if you have V2 Shanks and V2 Akainu on the same account, there's not much content that you can't beat, honestly. That's just, it's so strong. It's probably the best combination in the game that you can have. And then last but not least, the best legend in my personal opinion in the entire game is going to be Gear 4 Luffy. Recently had his 6+ over on GP, and oh my god, I love Snake Man so freaking much. I love Snake Man. I think Snake Man is better than Gear 4 in my personal opinion because I prefer the speed farming mechanic and the way that he can just beat content so quickly with the cooldown reduction and stuff. But we're not talking about Snake Man here, we're talking about Gear 4 Luffy. Gear 4 Luffy, Rainbow Captain, 4x multiplier, up to 4.25 for himself. Lots of beneficial orbs, like nearly everything is beneficial. The fact that he's Rainbow, you can run any other, you know, array of characters as subs. Legend Nami, one of the best subs for him, of course, because Legend Nami makes Dex beneficial, which Luffy does not make beneficial, so that just adds to the team. There's lots of actual characters that can actually make Dex beneficial to your crew, so that's not really a huge issue, but Legend Nami, one of the best subs. Honestly, if you're re-rolling an account, re-roll it with Gear 4 and you're pretty much set. There's not too much to Gear 4 that is really just going to hinder your playtime in One Piece Treasure Cruise. He has everything going for him, not really any negatives to him whatsoever. He has Gear 2 Captain Effect, Gear 3 Captain Effect, Gear 4 and Tank Man, or Gear 4 Bounce Man, Gear 4 Tank Man Captain Effects, and the fact that he's a Rainbow 2x type booster with his special, as well as enabling even more beneficial orbs for his special ability, as well as dealing massive AoE damage. As I said, literally no cons or negatives to him whatsoever. The best legend by far in the game. However, the next legend to come out on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global, according to the schedule of course, is supposed to be Whitebeard and Marco. Now, Whitebeard and Marco, he definitely rivals Gear 4 Luffy in terms of how good he is as a legend. I do think Gear 4 Luffy is still much better to use in terms of, you know, a rerolled account, or for beginner players, Gear 4 Luffy is still much better, but I think most high tier or established accounts will greatly benefit from Whitebeard and Marco just because of how good they are. They can literally beat anything. There's not too much that stands in their way. They can heal and stuff like that. But that's not really what this particular video is about talking about. I just want to give you guys a little bit of a hint as to what's coming up. Whitebeard and Marco are probably going to be in tier 0. Actually, 100%, like no doubt they're going to be in tier 0. Legend Shiki should be coming out this month as well. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not really too sure where I'd place him at this current time. And then next month as well, in February, we should be getting the anniversary month, which should technically be Brook and Big Mom, and Big Mom is definitely another tier 0 character. But anyways, that's been my overview and kind of prediction as to what's going to be coming out on Global. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this tier list video. As I said, hopefully you had a really good New Year and really good holiday period, and I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. And if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.